Hello, this is Nate Hudson. I am here to share a devotional with you from the 15th chapter of Matthew. I pray that these daily devotionals that we are doing are helping you and that they are encouraging you and empowering you to stay connected to Christ during this time of uncertainty. So today I am going over Matthew 15, where Jesus has an encounter with the Pharisees. Starting verses 1 through 2, they challenge him because his disciples are eating with unwashed hands. How ironic is that? Praying, you guys are not doing that. But in all seriousness, they were more concerned about breaking the tradition of the elders. So Jesus, he counteracts them with his own accusations in verses 3 through 9, stated that they cared more about man-made traditions than following God's will. They used their own commandments to dictate what was right to the people and not using the scriptures as the mandate or rule. So Jesus called them out and said that the Pharisees are hypocrites. It quotes Isaiah 29:13, which says, "These people draw near to me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. And in vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men." So this applies today because we can say we love God, we can say that we have a relationship, but our heart is ultimately the truth detector in a way. It will ultimately determine if what we profess is what's true. So I pray that our hearts will be more authentic, that our intentions will align with Him, that we be more intentional from how we communicate, how we relate to other people, and just be aware of how we profess ourselves as Christians. So verses 10 through 11, he addresses the crowd on what it means to be authentically holy, saying it's not what comes into a person, what comes into a mouth that defiles a man, but what comes out the mouth that defiles a man. Yes, there are some things that we can take in, but in the context of the scriptures, what comes out that Jesus is primarily focusing on. So in verses 12 through 14, Jesus speaks on what you do for God will survive, and talks about the plants. Those whose plants are rooted in God will survive. Those whose plants are not rooted in God will not survive. It will be ultimately uprooted. And the disciples are very baffled at his aggressiveness towards the Pharisees because they were not doing what was right. They were misleading the people. They were blindly leading the blind. So, and it's unfortunate because we have leaders like that do that today, that are focused on doing whatever they want, focusing on their selfish ambitions more than being the leaders that God has called us, that God has called them to be, or even us, if we can make it personal as leaders. So let our hearts be open to discernment. Let our hearts be open and made aware of what's going on so that we can discern truth from error. So, after all that, the faith of the Canaanite woman in the next part. She was a Gentile, not part of the Jewish community, but she persisted in requesting help from Jesus. She knew his authority, calling him son of David. Not many of the Jews recognized that. And she knew his power. But he was, however, resistant because he was testing her faith to see how much faith that she had in her. And it's interesting because God will do the same. He will put us in situations to test us to see how much faith we truly have in us. And not really give us what we desire automatically. But it's his intention to draw us closer to him. So Jesus tested her, but she remained humble and persistent, ultimately knowing her role, knowing her place. Not that it was a negative context, but knowing where she was in that time. And Jesus rewarded her because her faith was great. So there was so much to take out of this scripture, so much to take out of this chapter. I pray for one that we are not blindly following those who are blind, that we have the discernment, that we have the Holy Spirit leading and guiding us in all things, that we are actively, diligently seeking the Lord and increasing in our faith, that we maintain a spirit of humility, maintain a spirit of diligently seeking him through word, through prayer, through worship, through whatever means to draw closer to him. because that's what he desires. That's what he wants for us as followers of Christ. So I pray that that this blessed you. I pray that you stay safe, stay healthy, and that you stay connected to God. Have a blessed day.